On those flood.
The news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Thursday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
Thankfully, a dry day yesterday. So many people dealing with that flooding.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we had some more rain in fact, there's currently some rain taking place right now. It's not as heavy as what caused this initially, but we still have some flood concerns to mention here too, Gary. Let's take a look right now at the latest flood warning. So, yes, the much needed drier weather yesterday to really cut back on any higher risks. But there is one spot here locally I do want to emphasize as we zoom in here locally. There are a couple of flood warnings. So there's one here, West Canada Creek, and due to the rainfall, or at least the amounts of rain increasing at Hinckley Reservoir, it had to get released. So in turn, major flooding is taking place along the West Canada, heading down through Middleville, eventually down toward Herkimer. That is the most concerning spot here locally. We do have still some minor flooding in the Mohawk River here down toward Little Falls, but the rest of the area here has improved. Fish Creek is dropping, Sequoia Creek is dropping. So we do have some good news along that front there. Yorkville Battery Live Radar, we are tracking still some additional rain, still as expected, mainly south of the Utica area. It's currently impacting the capital region right now, and so you see here a lot of those weather stations south of the valley reporting rain. Hamilton, Binghamton, Ithaca, Dansville, and Poughkeepsie. Now, as we head toward the rest of the next 12 hours, it actually is a pretty dry afternoon toward the evening. We're tracking another round of rain, but notice here, they see these temperatures not warming up all too much, only in the low 40s. So it's going to feel like a return to a late March day. But we do have the arrival of some warmth as early as tomorrow. We'll track that, plus any additional rain chances coming up in that full forecast. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away. 4 astronauts.
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to Sunrise on this Thursday morning. Time now is 5:11, and as you get out to the roads this morning, well, it's some minor ponding, but besides that, it's much improved compared to the past few days. Current conditions in downtown Utica. Some patchy drizzle, temperature 39 degrees, east-southeast winds here around 5 miles an hour. As you head farther south, it's a much different story here. We are tracking widespread rain, mainly south of Route 20 toward the Catskills and Capital Region. You see right here the brunt of that rainfall staying to our south. So with the frontal boundary somewhat shifting north and south the next few days, here's what we mean when we talk about weather whiplash. We're in the 30s with that feels like temperature today. We're climbing into the 70s as we head into tomorrow here, 4:30 p.m. That's the window of that warm weather. It does cool down again into the 30s, and then look at that. It warms back up into the 50s, pushing 60s again tomorrow. So we do see quite a difference here in terms of temperature. Today, though, it's rather cool. Highs only in the 40s. We have a look at those local flood levels across a lot of those areas that are currently under flood warnings coming up in that full forecast. Gary?
Eric, speaking of that, Harbor Point in Utica got hit with flooding. Yes, water rising to just inches away from the parking lot. Now, this is water from the Mohawk River. The city of Utica is monitoring the level in the inner harbor and is in touch with the State Canal Corporation as they try to mitigate the flooding. When our crews were there, the water seemed to be receding. And check out this video of the Barge Canal in Sylvan Beach. This is from a viewer, Cody Pitcher. He captured video just as a gazebo was floating by on its way to Oneida Lake. It looked like it's attached to a dock or a deck. The time right now is 5:13. Here's a live look.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. Today we are still following those local water levels, and the most concerning spot is along the West Canada. Here's a look at the latest levels here across central New York, and the West Canada Creek with the Cast Bridge water meter reporting major flooding. And I mentioned this yesterday. This would be a concerning spot just simply because Hinckley Reservoir was still rising and the spillways, keep in mind, the flood level is 1,227 feet. So it's 2 feet above the spillway. So the water was still coming out of Hinckley as it was still rising. So just in turn, the domino effect had a feeling that West Canada would still see some of those rising waters. And again, so far at major flooding. The good news is it is falling. Both locations are falling. Mohawk River at Little Falls, minor flooding is reported. It is holding steady, slowly dropping. Shing River at Sherburne is thankfully falling below flood stage. Other spots here locally too. Some great news. Mohawk River at Delta Dam, Black River at Boonville, Moose River at McKeever, and Sequoia Creek at Whitesboro, all for one outside of flood stage and two either holding steady or falling. So we do have some good news along those areas as well. So for now, the biggest concern remains along the West Canada. Any projected rainfall over the next 24 hours appears to be very isolated or scattered. It's not widespread. Some spots picking up barely anything, other spots maybe half an inch as these rainfall, at least these spotty showers roll through. Now, we mentioned earlier in the week the risk for severe weather, and thankfully, I mean, the worst we saw was the rain, but luckily no tornadoes locally. But the same system that had that tornado risk did produce an EF1 confirmed down in western New York, north of Bradford, Pennsylvania. So anytime we mention those tornado risks, this is why we mention those, because although it's very unlikely, sometimes they do get confirmed. Radar and satellite showing that stationary front to our south, but look at this to our west. We still have some active weather moving its way in, and this is what we're expecting at least as we head toward the end of the week. So this rainfall south of the thruway does end. It's pretty dry in the early afternoon and the evening. We have another round of rain rolling through the area. Following that, it does dry up by Friday morning, maybe a few spotty showers here and there, maybe a downpour as well. But the main story is Friday afternoon, we climb to near 70 before a cold front works through. We cool back down into the 40s and 30s and then rebound back into the 50s and 60s by Saturday with a mainly dry day. So you can see here, rainfall chances pretty much scattered and on and off over the next 24 hours. Your 7-day forecast, as we follow Easter weekend, we are tracking a pretty decent cold front Easter Sunday. That's going to cool things down back into the 40s by Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Some spots could see some scattered snow showers. For now, it doesn't appear anything major, but this is why I always mention that even if we're in April, never rule out snow just yet. So, but for now, it's not going to be anything major. We just might see a few flurries falling from the sky.
We'll enjoy the warm weather tomorrow.
Oh, definitely.
Eric, thanks. April is Child Morning once again, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. If you are getting ready to head out the door this morning, Eric, not so bad this morning.
Yeah, that's right. Things are starting to trend a bit more on the dry side. We do have some rain we're tracking to our south, but it's rather light, if anything. Let's take a look, though, at some flood warnings. I want to still emphasize here locally for those of you that are at least impacted by it. The main one we're tracking here is, of course, right along West Canada, going from Hinckley Reservoir down to, of course, Herkimer down in the valley. That spot there under major flooding. The category is now at, well, one of the highest levels it can be. Not record-setting, but certainly high. It's just due to the fact that the spillways over the dam about 2 feet of additional water. And of course, at least until last night, it was still increasing in total. So you have that factor together, and it's going to spell concern for flooding down with the domino effect anyways. Mohawk River at Little Falls, it is receding at least for now, but still there is minor flooding taking place. York Full Battery Live Radar. As I mentioned, we have some of that rainfall still passing to our south. It will be diminishing shortly. You see that dry air moving in behind it. So it's not an all-day-long event. But either way, weather stations south of the valley reporting that rainfall. We have Binghamton, Ithaca, Hamilton, and Poughkeepsie. Now Dansville drying up. It was reporting rain earlier in the morning. But either way, today we're seeing highs only in the low 40s. So it is a cooler afternoon today. Toward the evening, we've got some rain chances arriving closer to 4 to 6 p.m. It's not lasting long, but it's going to produce a brief window of it. And then following that, we have a warmer day tomorrow, a much warmer day. We'll be talking about that for you coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast, 10 minutes away each morning. In a prime.
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to News Channel 2 at sunrise. Now that things are winding down from the rainfall we saw the last 24 to 48 hours, I do want to add some interesting context here to the rain we saw on the 31st of March. We picked up 2.28 inches of rain at Griffiths. That is 0.03 inches shy of the record set on March 3rd in 1994. That was the most rain recorded in a 24-hour span in central New York March records. Now, that puts us total for the month of March around 6.3 inches of total rain, which, get this, is second all-time, only shy of, you guessed it, 1994. So quite an interesting stat here that we've had such a rainy March so far this year. Now, a bit of a juxtaposition here. Well, looks like the photo did not update here, but nonetheless, we had a photo of some blooming daisies. I can't wait to show you guys in our next hour here on Sunrise. Gary?
Eric, thanks. We are now less than 100 days out.
Most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. Today we are looking at the latest in the water levels here locally, and the big concern still remains in one local spot, West Canada Creek. We look at the latest water levels here, and the first time in quite a while that I've seen it where we've had major flooding category along the West Canada Creek at Cass Bridge. And the main reason for it, the Hinckley Reservoir flood stage at 1227 feet, 1,227 feet. Basically, that means if it goes above it, it goes over the spillway. It's about 2 feet above the spillway right now. So because of that, despite the increased levels going into the dam, in turn, it's now in the domino effect category here, pushing its way down toward the West Canada Creek. So that's why the water levels increased along the creek. Now, the good news is it is falling, but it will still be in a moderate flooding category for the foreseeable future. Good news is Mohawk River at Little Falls now holding steady at minor flood category. It will be slowly falling in the future. Shenango River at Sherburne is also falling. And we have some better news from all these other local waterways here too. Mohawk River at Delta Dam holding steady. Black River falling, Moose River falling, Sequoia Creek also falling, all of them below minor flood stage. Fish Creek is dropping, Oriskany Creek also dropping, and several other waterways also seeing some decreases. So we got some great news right there. We do expect additional scattered showers over the next 24 hours. Notice here they're not widespread. They're hit or miss across sections of central New York. That's basically what we're seeing, at least between now through Saturday. So that severe weather risk we mentioned on the 31st, tornado risk, right? We didn't see any here locally, thankfully, but this is why we always take those seriously, because there was a confirmed tornado, our first confirmed tornado of the year out in western New York, north of Bradford, Pennsylvania. So this is first, hopefully not many this year. I know a lot of us don't want to have a repeat of 2024. Radar and satellite showing rain showers to our south. They are receding. There is more rain expected with a brief wave as we head toward tonight, and a trailing cold front well out to our west that will be set to arrive as we head toward the second half of the weekend. As you see here, our skycast, rainfall somewhat tapering off today. It's a dry early afternoon. By the evening, here comes more rainfall, not lasting too long, but enough to dampen some surfaces. And then following that, it does dry up again. A few more scattered showers, maybe a downpour or two. But Friday, look at this. We warm up to the 70s by the afternoon with some sunshine. Downpours passing over us. We cool right back down again into the 30s before we rebound back into the 50s, pushing 60s. Saturday, Easter Sunday, starting out warm. Massive cold front works through the area. bringing widespread rain and eventual cool down back into the 40s and 30s by Monday and Tuesday with some isolated snow chances. So for now, we've got this weather whiplash again, but I will say this, it's not expected to last long, that cold weather. The warm air is still expected to win out eventually, so we just got to get through some of these cold pockets here and there.
Yeah, we'll enjoy tomorrow before that cold front moves in.
Oh, yeah.
Eric, thanks. Proctor Senior Nyesha Lewis.
With Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this Thursday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
See all that flooding all around the area. So many people dealing with it, and again, luckily the rain, subsided yesterday as the day before.
Oh, yeah, and the big thing about that is it gave some time for the water levels to begin to catch up. It could have been worse if we had rain again yesterday. Yeah. So a look at the latest conditions right now. We're still tracking a few trouble spots here locally with all that rain that was falling from the 31st of March. And it's mainly the area here as we head toward West Canada Creek, this spot going from Hinckley Reservoir all the way down to Herkimer. It is currently in major flood category. Not too common to see that. And the reason for that, too, is just simply because we had so much rain spilling into Hinckley that there was about a 2-foot difference over the spillway. So the water was still going down West Canada Creek toward Cass Bridge despite the rain stopping. So that's why this is the biggest concerned area here locally along the West Canada. Mohawk River in Little Falls, still in a flood warning. We're still at minor flood category, but it is holding steady and is slightly falling. So good news along that front there. And speaking of fronts, we have that stationary front to our south producing a few scattered rain showers. It is tapering off, though. See that dry air moving in? This is not an all-day long event. In fact, it's going to be much more dry as we head toward the afternoon. Nonetheless, rain showers reported in Hamilton, Ithaca, Binghamton, weather stations south of the valley. And at temperatures hovering in the 30s as we head toward the afternoon. We're going to climb into the 40s. It's really about it, with a chance of a passing shower toward the evening. Then it warms up. I know we're looking at 41 today, but would you believe it if I said tomorrow could be pushing 70? Well, that's the case with the variable weather we're seeing in the short term. We'll track that plus any additional rain chances for you coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. 4 astronauts are now up.
Welcome back to Sunrise. Time now is 6:11 on this April 2nd. Here's a look at what you can expect in your forecast in a minute today. So we start out with the current conditions of downtown Utica. Maybe a passing shower as much of the consistent rain is mainly south of the Mohawk Valley, but nonetheless, a lot of us starting out rather chilly. A cold rain, temperatures in the 30s, and an east wind of 5 to 10 miles an hour. And here's a look at that rainfall right now. It's mainly, again, shifting its way eastward. It's going to have a bit of a northern push here briefly before it fizzles out. So this is not a long duration rain event, at least today. It does wind down throughout the morning here. And when it comes to the heaviest rain, well, it's mainly heading toward the Catskills and the capital region out toward Albany. So temperatures this morning feeling like the 30s. We do climb into the 70s tomorrow. See quite a difference here. 71 in Utica. Then we cool right back down again into the 30s tomorrow night, and then rebounding into the 50s by Saturday, pushing maybe the low 60s. So quite a variable temperature trend the next few days. We'll be tracking that plus the latest on those water levels here and those flood warnings straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Now more on our flooding coverage. Harbor Point in Utica got hit yesterday. Water rising to just inches away from the parking lot. This is water from the Mohawk River. The city of Utica is monitoring the level in the inner harbor and is in touch with the State Canal Corporation as they try to mitigate the flooding. When our crews were there, the water seemed to be finally receding. And check out this video of the Barge Canal in Sylvan Beach. This is from a viewer, Cody Pitcher. He captured video just as a gazebo was floating by, and it looked like it was attached to a dock or a deck right behind it. The time right now is...
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. We are slowly seeing these water levels recede a little bit, but there are a couple of spots we want to really focus on here locally. Let's begin with some of the water levels here along the West Canada. So, due to the fact that the spillway over the Hinkley Reservoir is about 2 feet, at least the water levels are 2 feet higher than the spillway, that, of course, in turn was causing some major flooding along the West Canada heading down toward Cass Bridge and Herkimer. The good news is it's falling, and as the latest numbers, it's slowly going to be falling into the moderate flood category. But still, that's the biggest concerned area here locally. Mohawk River at Little Falls holding steady, in fact, somewhat falling. Still at minor flood category. Schnee River at Sherburne also reporting falling levels. Other spots here locally, some good news, either holding steady or falling at Mohawk River at Delta Dam, Black River, Moose River, and Sequoia Creek heading toward Whitesboro. So good news right there. There's additional rain expected over the next few days. Not very meaningful, though. In fact, a few isolated downpours here and there. Despite that, not anything very widespread. So good news there. There was an EF1 tornado reported from the storms that rolled through on the 31st. So we mentioned that tornado risk. The biggest risk, of course, being flooding, which unfortunately did verify. We don't like when things verify like that, especially when there's damage and flooding like this. But it did verify. We had some stronger wind gusts, at least lightning a big concern. But we also mentioned the risk of tornadoes. And thankfully, none took place locally. But there was one that was confirmed, our first one of the year, out in western New York. And it's why we mentioned we have days like on the 31st to take our warnings seriously, because it's very unlikely, but the atmosphere is present to produce one, and sure enough it did out to the west. So today, well, we have some rain exiting to our east, and it does dry up a little bit. We have a brief round of rain as we head toward tonight. It's from a warm front. It's going to usher in some warmer temperatures before we have a few more scattered downpours toward Friday. So we time it out here in our Skycast. You see here we have some of that rain tapering off this afternoon, rather dry. We see a brief round of rain this evening. That pushes through. And then we go from the 30s and 40s up into the 50s and 60s, pushing 70 degrees by Friday afternoon with a few passing showers here and there, some sunshine, and then the cold front works through. And we're going to cool right back down again into the 30s by Saturday morning. Rebounding, though, into the 50s, pushing 60 by Saturday morning as that warm air returns again. But it's very close, and in fact, a lot of spots north might not see that true warmth. We're in the 50s on Sunday for Easter, and then a strong cold front works through, widespread rain, and then we've got a cool down next week. We're in the 40s and 30s with some scattered rain and snow showers, but at least nothing very meaningful, at least when it comes to accumulation. So good news there, but for now, we're going to enjoy the 70s tomorrow. Looking forward to that.
Looking forward to that. Eric, thanks. April is Child Abuse Prevention. Good morning once again, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. I'm Gary Libertor, and for all of you folks out there dealing with that massive flooding, Eric, is there more rain on the way?
Well, so the plus and minus is there is some rain still coming, but thankfully it's not as intense as on the 31st. Let's dive into the flood warnings here, because I want to emphasize what locations are currently seeing the worst impacts right now. And I want to zoom into West Canada Creek. We mentioned yesterday this would be the trouble spot, and sure enough, with the water over about 2 feet over the spillway at Hinkley Reservoir, that in turn is causing major flooding along the West Canada. So that's a spot where that flood warning still is warranted, with the major flooding taking place. There's minor flooding taking place along the Mohawk River in Little Falls and a few other spots near the Mohawk River in the Mohawk Valley. But besides that, other spots are continuing to see improvements. Fish Creek is lowering. Sequoia Creek is lowering. A bunch of other spots, Black River, so Schnee River too. So this morning, yes, we're seeing some rain. It's not heavy. It's light to moderate here. It's mainly south of the New York State Thruway. It's going to shift its way north a little bit, so we're not going to be entirely dry this morning. But once it shifts north, it's going to fall apart, and it does dry up as we head toward the early part of this afternoon. Rainfall reports here this morning at Binghamton and Ithaca. A bit of a spotty shower or two heading up toward Hamilton and eventually Utica and Rome. But nonetheless, today, brief morning shower will end. It's a dry early part of the afternoon and then a brief round of rain toward the evening before we are tracking a warm up tomorrow. Yes, it's only 40s today, but it could be nearing 70 tomorrow. We'll track that warm up plus the latest on rainfall chances and, of course, the latest water levels, too, coming up in that full forecast. Gary?
Hey, Eric, thank you. And don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away each morning. In a primetime address to the...
Welcome back to Sunrise on this April 2nd. Recapping the March rain we saw, at least on the 31st, now that things are starting to wind down. We certainly got close to some records here. So officially at Griffiths, we picked up 2.28 inches of rain on the 31st. That is 0.03 inches shy of the record set on March 31st or March 3rd in 1994. So it's the second rainiest March day on record. And how about this? You factor in the total, around 6.3 inches of total rain accumulation in the month of March this year. That puts it in second place, again behind 94 on the rainiest March on record. So we certainly hit a big milestone with all that rain we saw on the 31st. Our photo of the day today brings us to viewing some of these blooming pansies here with some of the daffodils in the background trying to bloom as well. This was sent in by Pam. Amazing shot right here of some spring flowers trying to make a go for it in the wild weather here in March and April. If you have a photo like that you'd like to send to us, go to WKTV.com/weather/pics. That photo and every photo every morning brought to you by GPO Federal Credit Union. Gary?
There are pansies all over the place this time of year.
Oh, yeah.
Eric, thanks. The magic of the Polar Express.
Most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. Today we are still looking at the latest in water levels. The big concern here being West Canada Creek. Let's take a look at the latest water levels here this morning. And when it comes to the West Canada, from Hinckley down to Cass Bridge toward Herkimer, certainly has some pretty high flooding. In fact, it was major flooding this morning. It is going to be falling below major flood stage into moderate flood stage. Same thing for West Canada Creek at the Hinckley Reservoir there. Also reporting some falling levels here. And the big issue was the water was about 2 feet over the spillway. So with the water increasing at Hinckley, there's nowhere for the water to go but down the creek. So that's the biggest concerned area here. Mohawk River is holding steady right now at Little Falls. It is expected to fall a little bit over the next few hours. Shenango River at Sherburne is also falling. Other local waterways here, Mohawk River at Delta Dam, it's holding steady. Black River, Moose River, and Sequoia Creek all reporting falling levels, and none of them, at least at this time, are currently in any flood category. So good news there as well. Fish Creek also reporting dropping levels. Oriskany Creek reporting dropping levels. So a lot of local spots here seeing some improvements. With projected rain over the next 24 hours, you notice here there's a few spots that can pick up maybe a half an inch, but they're incredibly isolated. There's not widespread rain like what we saw on the 31st. Now, speaking of the 31st, not only did we mention flood risk and lightning risk, we also mentioned tornado risk on the 31st. And thankfully, no tornadoes reached our local area, but there was a confirmed one out in western New York. And it's always a reminder, anytime we mention those risks, that we truly mean it, that we really look at the context of stuff going on in the atmosphere, and we let you guys know if things look concerning. And sure enough, a first confirmed tornado in New York State took place in western New York, north of Bradford, on the, again, 31st of March. So today, we have a few spotty showers rolling through. Following that, it is dry up, more rain on the back end of the system here as we head toward the evening. In fact, we can time it out here. See that rain? It somewhat falls apart by the early afternoon. By the mid-afternoon to evening here around 5 p.m., brief round of rain. Temperature still hovering in the upper 30s, low 40s. It remains rather chilly until the afternoon Friday when temperatures start climbing into the 50s, eventually pushing 70 with some sunshine and some warmer temperatures before we cool right back down again with a passing downpour or two as a cold front works its way through the area. Then it cools down again Friday nights, rebounding back into the 50s, maybe pushing 60 by Saturday. Easter Sunday, 50s the temperature, then a big cold front works through, and we cool back down into the 40s by Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But for now, again, we're watching very closely those local water levels, plus at least some good news here, Gary. Tomorrow, we've got 70s on tap, so some nice weather on the horizon.
Do something before that cold front comes in.
That's right.
Eric, thanks. Well, Proctor Sr. is joining us now. And Eric, this morning there were still some flood warnings in effect. Are they still in effect?
Yes, a couple of spots still under flood warnings. One main one we want to mention here, too. Let's take a look at the latest flood warnings. Of course, much improved compared to 24 hours ago. We had a lot more green on this map here, but since then, two spots remain locally, and it's West Canada and it's the Mohawk River here. Now, with the West Canada, the waterways are right around Hinckley, about a foot over the spillway now. It was over 2 feet. So there are some improvements there. Just the downstream effects here. There is still moderate flooding taking place both at the dam and down the way out toward Cast Bridge, where the other river monitor is, and then eventually down toward Herkimer before it reaches the barge canal. Now, another spot too, Mohawk River also still reporting minor flooding, but besides that, some good news along some other locations. Oriskany Creek, Sequoia Creek, Fish Creek, Black River, Shenango River, all reporting lowering numbers. So we got some good news there. Yorkville Battery Live radar, a few scattered light rain showers, mainly just nuisance mist and drizzle for the most part. It's just overall pretty damp and cold day. Now behind me, as you see here, we've got some more rain moving in, a bit more of a moderate rain as we head towards, say, the mid to late afternoon. And in the wake of that, we're going to see some warmer temperatures arrive tomorrow. But as you can see here, right now we're still hovering in the 40s. Would you believe me if I said we're going to be pushing near 70 tomorrow afternoon, maybe even some sunshine in the afternoon as well. But we'll track that change in temperature plus the impacts of a passing cold front or two over the next few days straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. In a primetime address to the nation last night, President...
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon. A bit of a cold, damp, bit of a dreary day out there today. Some nuisance and mist out there, but nonetheless, our big focus right now is on the local water levels. Here's a look at them right now. And first, the ones with the biggest priority here with the West Canada. And we've got at least some good news here, despite the fact that it is still at moderate flood stage. It is falling slowly, but it's falling. Mohawk River also pretty much falling right here. It's falling slowly. Shenango River in Sherburne, somewhat holding steady, but at least it's below flood stage. So that's some good news there. A couple other spots here as well. Mohawk River at Delta Dam is slowly falling. Black River at Boonville also falling. Moose River reporting some falling levels. It is now in a no-issue category here, not even near flood stage. And there's a Sequoia Creek at Whitesboro holding steady at just under 3 feet. So other waterways, too, also showing declines. However, we do have some more rain on the way as we head into the next 24 hours. Notice here it's not widespread. In fact, it's looking right here like it'd be the Adirondacks, right? Well, it's not necessarily just the Adirondacks. This is a model output here, which is showing some isolated downpours popping up. And that's what we're tracking here as we head into the next few days, which I'll show here momentarily. In the meantime, though, with all that rain we saw, now that things are winding down, we picked up 2.28 inches of rain on March 31st at Griffiths. That stands as the second rainiest March day in central New York history. Just 3.03 inches shy of the record set back in 1994. Now, with that in mind, our total of rain for the entire month surpassed 6.3 inches, which is second only to 1994 in total rainfall in March history. So this entire event that took place at the end of March catapulted our area into the top 2 rainiest Marches ever. So if you're wondering what the impacts of that would be, well, that's the case here locally. Some patchy nuisance drizzle here. We do have some more rain chances on the way the next few days. And as we zoom in here, I want to focus on the exact time frame of them. So again, this afternoon, patchy drizzle. This evening, you see here around us some moderate rain. Following that, we're going to start to see a warm up. It's going to be slow, especially for the start of Friday. We're still in the upper 30s, low 40s, pushing 50 by noontime. And then once the clouds exit, a few spotty showers. Warming up to near 70, and then right here, we got a few isolated downpours as we cool back down again as we head into Saturday. Saturday starts out cold. We're in the low 40s, upper 30s. We climb back into the 50s, pushing 60, depending on where that stationary front sets up. And then following that Sunday, Easter Sunday, you might be encountering some pretty decent rainfall. A big cold front works through, and we cool down into the 40s and 30s by Monday through Wednesday next week. So you have a taste of some colder weather returning. It's not going to last long, but still, it's early April, and it's going to be a little bit before we finally exit this pattern. But, I mean, we're seeing a lot more 70s and 60s than we are seeing 30s and 20s. That's some good news there.
Yeah, we'll take tomorrow for sure. Eric, thanks to South Carolina. Just Eric Gage joining us now. And Eric, as we mentioned earlier, there are still some flood warnings in effect, and these are the two, right?
Yeah, the two main ones here locally, West Canada Creek and Mohawk River. In fact, the latest numbers here, again, good news, they are falling, but still in flood category. Here's a look at them right now. Of course, going from the Hinkley Reservoir all the way down to the Barge Canal. West Canada Creek currently, again, under moderate flood stage, but the numbers are still falling. Hinkley Reservoir, the water levels are about, I would say about a foot over the flood criteria, which is allowing, again, additional stream flow here. The Mohawk River also in a minor flood stage. The rest of the area seeing some signs of improvement. Fish Creek, Oriskany Creek, Sequoia Creek, Mohawk River heading out toward the west, as well as Shenango River and Black River, all reporting some good news there. Still, though, it's a bit damp, a bit chilly out there this afternoon. A few spotty sprinkles, a better shot for some moderate rainfall this afternoon, roughly closer to that evening commute time frame. With that round of rain, we're going to see some warmer temperatures. I know right now it certainly doesn't feel like it. We've been stuck in the upper 30s, low 40s all day long. A cold mist as we enter our second day of April. But would you believe me, if tomorrow we're going to be warming up to near 70 with that warm up on the way? Will that linger throughout all of Easter, or will cold air return? We'll be talking about that temperature trend for you coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. A star cornhole player now charged with murder in Maryland made his first appearance in court on Wednesday. Dayton Weber is charged with shooting and killing a passenger in his car. But Weber is a quadruple amputee who gained fame overcoming physical challenges. Wednesday, a judge ruled to hold him without bond.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon. Despite the brunt of the rain ending, we're still just dealing with these nuisance showers today. It's a bit of a cold rain as well. Temperatures really struggling to get above the 30s and low 40s. Most importantly, though, the water levels here. Big story, West Canada Creek is falling. It is currently in moderate flood stage. In fact, Cass Bridge was at major flood stage last night, topping over 8 feet. Now it is dropping down below. Again, over the spillway right here is what's causing that issue. The Hinkley Reservoir was about 2 feet over the spillway. Now it's dropping. It's slowly dropping, but it is dropping. Mohawk River at Little Falls, slowly dropping. Shenango River is holding steady, but it is below flood stage, so we do have some good news there. A couple other spots here. Again, a lot of falling in steady categories. Mohawk River, Black River, Moose River, all reporting falling conditions, at least Mohawk River at Delta. So, when it comes to rainfall potential the next 24 hours, I mentioned that we might be seeing a few isolated downpours as a cold front rolls through tomorrow evening. So that's our best shot for any additional notable rain. Despite that patchy drizzle like this today, doesn't really amount to much in terms of any flooding risk. It's that consistent, moderate heavy rain that's a big concern. So with all that rain that took place on the 31st of March, it set up 2.28 inches of rain, which is the second rainiest day in March records, narrowly shy of the 3rd of March in 1994. Remember those days there where we had the rainiest March day on record. This number catapulted it this past March to the second rainiest March on record. So needless to say, this is definitely one for the record books here and firmly puts us in a top 2 spots here locally. By the way, those measurements are measured at Griffiths in Rome. Radar and satellite showing a few spotty rain showers today. We have a bit of a heavier round coming through this evening. It's not heavy relatively to what we saw on 31st, but it's going to be a bit heavier than we're seeing right now, that nuisance drizzle and sprinkles. So today, that early morning rain has exited. We got a few nuisance showers here and there. We have a better shot for that rain again this evening, and then begins a slow warm up. We start out in the 30s tomorrow, slowly climbing into the 40s, 50s. By noontime, we're at 55. On and off rain showers are expected. Then between noon and say 4 and 5 p.m., we got this window of nice weather. Sunshine moves in. We're pushing near 70. And then here comes the arrival of that cold front. A few scattered downpours passing over us. And then we're back down into the 40s and 30s again by Saturday morning. Saturday, we could rebound as high as the 60s, all dependent on that location of that frontal boundary. Either way, it will be warming up a little bit. Same thing for the start of Sunday, and then a massive cold front arrives Easter Sunday and cools things down into the 40s by early next week. So we might have some snow mixing in with the rain, but the big story today, though, is despite the cold, it's pushing 70 tomorrow. So we might have some good news there.
Something to smile about.
Oh, yeah.
Eric, thanks. Well, a New Mexico family.
It's raining up here on Smith Hill, but we're going to be rewarded with some sunshine tomorrow.
It should be a really nice day tomorrow. Very different compared to today. Very spring-like, and this looks like it's going to spill into part of the Easter weekend. Unfortunately, not all of it. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Stern Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Just a gloomy day today. The really thick clouds that really didn't give us much sunlight at all have been with us throughout the majority of the day. We have been tracking some rain. We have not experienced any significant flooding issues with today's rainfall. It just wasn't as heavy as what we dealt with here previously on Tuesday. Current temperature 40 degrees. It's chilly. It's going to stay cold tonight. Showers will be coming to an end. We're looking at a sharp warm up tomorrow. Temperatures will be 25 to 30 degrees warmer tomorrow at this time compared to now. Very spring-like weather is going to stick around into Saturday, but unfortunately by Easter things are going to start to change and it does get colder temporarily as we look ahead. Showers around this evening, temperatures in the upper 30s. Again, just a cold evening, cold and damp. But again, it's going to feel very spring-like tomorrow. I've got to look at the forecast coming out. Kristen, back to you.
All right, Bill, thank you. A day after Newport filled with floodwater, we went back today to see if there was any improvement. You can see the high water level on the West Canada Creek. Ooh. The Red Cross has set up a shelter at the Kayahora Community Hall. There you can get food and other basic necessities. And while there, the shelter has cleaning kits that are designed for water cleanup. Those are still available to those affected. Various community organizations, including the Herkimer Oneida Organization Active in Disaster, or HUAD, are offering a helping hand. Newport is expected to remain under a flood warning until late tomorrow morning.
The flooding that affected Harbor Point has slowly started to recede. Heavy rainfall affected the Utica area, greater Mohawk Valley. Of course, the Mohawk River rose, and we had pictures last night, video last night, the water up over the benches in that sitting area. Some of that water is starting to recede today. Geese began adopting the sidewalk again as their own. Well, that was totally covered. See where those benches are in the back there? They were underwater, so obviously it's come down today. City of Utica actively working with the State Canal Corporation to try and reduce flooding damage.
A portion of I-88 in Otsego County is still closed because of a sinkhole between Otsego and Unadilla. It's been 2 days. State police today say there is considerable erosion under the highway. The sinkhole is caused by an unknown water issue.
President Trump has fired another cabinet.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. The rain very persistent today. It has lasted for the majority of the afternoon, and it's been relatively light. And as we take a live look in downtown Utica, it continues to rain. There is an end in sight, though. The back edge of the rain is starting to work in from the west, and I do think we'll get a chance to dry out as we get into this evening and tonight. Get a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. The back edge of this rain is coming down pretty hard. But again, it is lifting to the north, and it will not cause any significant flooding issues. By the way, the West Canada Creek hit a record crest early today at Cass Bridge. It was measured at 8.25 feet. That would be a top 10. This would be number 6 on the list here. And you can see some notables. The Halloween flood, number 1. And again, a lot of these have been in a relative recent memory. This is one spot where we have a long history of records that go back over 100 years. I wish we could do this with other streams and rivers to compare, but we just don't have the data. But it does give you at least a bearing on as to how significant the past 2 days have been, at least in parts of central New York. Temperatures are chilly, and going forward, again, the weather is looking relatively quiet. The big story is going to be the warm-up. It is cold out there, especially for early April. Dalgeville, 38 degrees, Little Falls, 39. Temperatures across the southern valleys, Morris, 44, and Unadilla with 45. Some warm weather will be starting to work in tonight, but we're not going to see this really flip until tomorrow afternoon. And we have a warm front that's moving in. This is the reason why we're seeing clouds and showers. Once the front clears the area, we'll see a sharp increase in the temperature, and that takes place tomorrow. So it rains cloudy tonight. Can't rule out a shower, but I don't think we're going to see the steady rain we're seeing now. Temperatures will be in the upper 30s. Friday morning starts out chilly. We're still in the 40s. It's still cloudy, but I'm expecting the sun to come out and the weather to warm up. It will be a process, but I think by the early afternoon, you'll notice the warm weather arrive. I think we're still close to 70 by Friday afternoon. There will be a cold front, not a strong cold front, but a weaker cold front that will knock temperatures down into the 60s as we head into Saturday. Temperatures will be cooler Saturday, but still a pretty nice day. Some clouds mixed with sunshine. And then rain will be arriving from the west as we head into Easter Sunday. Additional rain tonight and early tomorrow look to be on the lighter side, about another 1/4 of an inch. Again, it's not heavy like we dealt with on Tuesday. Tonight, showers, 38 degrees. Tomorrow, a passing shower in the afternoon, the late afternoon. It is going to be much warmer with a high close to 70. It's warm Saturday, a few showers in the afternoon. Easter Sunday starts out wet. The 56 will be in the morning. It will be much chillier in the afternoon. And yes, we could see a few flurries on Monday. Some cold weather Tuesday, but we do start to turn around. 40s and maybe even 60 by this time next week.
All right, Bill, thank you. I can't remember what round your mascot lost in, but mine went all the way.
Very nice. Congratulations.
I don't have a mascot. My school closed. Sorry.
It's not funny.
It's a wrap on the SUNY mascot, meteorologist Bill Curtis.
So some news to pass along this week from a New York State level. There was a tornado touchdown in western New York that happened on Tuesday with those storms that that came in from the west. This was an EF1 tornado south of Buffalo. This is notable because this is the first touchdown that has been confirmed in New York State this year. And again, thankfully, none of those storms locally did anything quite like that. But we did get a lot of rain, of course. And we're still dealing with the repercussions of all that heavy rain. River levels are continuing to recede. Some minor flooding continues along the Mohawk River. But again, things are getting better. Even despite today's rain, which wasn't as heavy as what we dealt with on Tuesday, we are still seeing some showers out there this evening. But those will come to an end. Current temperature, 40 degrees. It's chilly. But look at this. We're going to be close to 70 degrees by Friday. We'll cool off, though, as we head into the start of next week. Temperatures this evening will be in the upper 30s. If you are going to take the dog out for a walk, it will be kind of chilly out there. Tonight's featured dogs Jeep and Coco. I don't know which one is which. I'm doing my best here from Forestport. If you want to be part of this, head to Skycast WKTV on Facebook. This is brought to you by Nissan. Back over to you.
All right, thanks, Bill. The USDA says certain packages of
The The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We are tracking cloudy, chilly conditions this evening. The weather will be sharply warming up. In fact, by this time tomorrow, it's going to feel very spring-like at about 25 to 30 degrees warmer. Live look at Oneonta. We got temperatures stuck in the 30s today. We are looking at a cold rain throughout a good portion of the afternoon. The rain is starting to lift north, and we are starting to dry out. And the rest of this evening will remain dry for most of central New York. Maybe some patchy drizzle, patchy fog, and the like as clouds continue to linger around. This was the scene earlier today along Fish Creek. This is taken by Cody Pitcher. Still dealing with flooding problems, although the water levels are down compared to yesterday. There are still some issues out there. Things are going to slowly get better as we head into tonight and tomorrow with generally dry weather. Westmoreland 39 degrees, Dolgeville 38. Let's take a look at our skywatchers here. Whitesboro 45, Micah New Hartford 40 degrees, Barneveld 39, Inlet 37, Millville 42, Jeff and Mohawk 39, Deb and Hardwick 38 degrees, Carroll and Worcester with 38. Again, just a cold day for early April. And again, we're just on the wrong side of a warm front. You want to be on the other side of it, the south side where the warm area is. Ahead of it is just cold, dreary, damp. This weather is going to change as the front lifts to the north. That's going to bring very spring-like temperatures into central New York late tomorrow. Tonight remains chilly, temperatures in the 30s. Could see a passing shower overnight. We'll start out Friday morning cold and cloudy, very similar to this morning, but give it a couple of hours. The weather is going to change. We're expecting highs to be in the 60s to low 70s in the afternoon. We're expecting some sunshine as well. A couple of showers here Friday night. There will be a slight push of cooler weather for Saturday. So it starts out cloudy in the morning with some sunshine. Not quite as warm Saturday afternoon, but it does look dry for most of the day with showers arriving late. Temperatures will be in the low 60s. Showers tonight, low temperature of 38 degrees. Not much additional rain is expected here, so we're not expecting any additional flooding issues. Passing shower tomorrow. Again, the big story, it's expected to be much, much warmer. And again, late in the afternoon is when we'll see the sharp warm up, a high close to 70. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Showers Saturday, 62 degrees. Easter Sunday looks wet in the morning. And then the weather looks to cool off throughout the afternoon. So that high is early in the day. Windy and much colder later on. Flurries expected Monday. Yes, some flurries return to central New York with a high of close to 40. Tuesday, mostly cloudy, 40. Sunshine Wednesday, 47. We're back to 60 degrees with even warmer weather expected by Thursday. We'll be right back.
Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Cold, dreary day today, but the weather is going to change in a significant way over the next 24 hours. A warm front rolls through. It's going to feel very spring-like by this time tomorrow. Still dealing with a few showers across central New York, but the rain has lightened up considerably over the past hour. A little bit of patchy drizzle and fog is possible this evening. Current temperature 40 degrees, and this is about where we'll stay for the majority of this evening and tonight. Again, showers, a couple of showers will continue late tonight, but again, it's looking much, much warmer tomorrow. Warm start to the weekend, but unfortunately, the warm weather doesn't survive through all of Easter and beyond. We are looking at another round of colder weather to start early next week. Showers this evening, temperatures in the upper 30s to low 40s. Again, tracking a much warmer Friday. A look at the forecast is coming up. Kristen, back to you.
Bill, thank you. A day after Newport filled with floodwater, we went back today to see if there was any improvement. The American Red Cross shelter at Cuyahoga Community Hall has closed, but there are still cleanup kits available there. Various community organizations, including Herkimer Oneida Organizations Active in Disaster, are offering a helping hand as well. Newport is expected to remain under a flood warning until late tomorrow morning.
Flooding affecting Harbor Point in Utica slowly starting to recede. Heavy rainfall affected Utica and the greater Mohawk Valley this week. Of course, the Mohawk River rose right up close to the parking lot. Video we had last night had a lot of this fully underwater. You can see sidewalks and benches. This water is receding. Good news here. but the geese have found their way back to the area. City of Utica is actively working with the State Canal Corporation to reduce flooding damage.
A portion of I-88 in Otsego County is still closed because of a sinkhole between Otsego and Unadilla. It's been 2 days. State police today say there is considerable erosion under the highway. The sinkhole is caused by an unknown water issue.
For the 5th time since Governor Hochul took office, the state budget is late.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. A dreary day across central New York. Thankfully, the rain that we have seen has not caused any additional flooding. Nothing new to report this evening. The water levels continue to go down. It's a live look at the downtown Utica from our Nexus camera. Again, it's just a cloudy, cold early April day, and the rain is now lifting to the north, so we will get a chance to dry out. Some patchy fog and drizzle is what could be left behind here. The radar can sometimes have a hard time spotting that. Again, this is a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. The crest of the West Canada was measured at 8.25 feet earlier this morning, and that was taken at Cast Bridge. This puts it at number 6 in terms of highest recorded crests. The records go back more than 100 years, so this is pretty significant. You look at the list here, you can see some very memorable years here. The Halloween flood was number 1. 1943 is number 2. 2013, 2011. Again, some years that come to mind. Unfortunately, we don't have a way to compare all the rivers and streams like this. West Canada has a particularly rich set of data here to work with. This was the scene earlier today. This is the Fish Creek. The water levels are coming down, but again, we're still dealing with problems here. And things will be getting better as we move forward with generally dry weather in our future. It's cold out there. Whitesboro 45 degrees, Inlet 37, Jeff and Mohawk 39, Skinevus 40, 38 degrees in Hartwick. But the weather does warm up. A warm front will be moving through. We're on the wrong side of it today. We're on the cold side. Once the front clears the area, we will see a sharp increase in the temperature, and that's expected to take place tomorrow afternoon. Storm Tracker 2 Skycast, cloudy skies tonight, generally dry, a couple of showers here and there, especially towards daybreak. Overnight lows stay in the upper 30s. Friday starts out chilly. It starts out similar to today, but give it some time. I think the weather is going to dramatically change beginning in the afternoon. Sunshine is expected. Temperatures should pop. We should be looking at highs close to 70 degrees. A few scattered showers are possible late in the day. Slight push of cooler weather for Saturday, but still pretty nice. We'll start out with temperatures in the 30s. We'll climb into the low 60s in the afternoon. A few late day showers are expected. Tonight, showers, low 38. Tomorrow, much warmer in the afternoon. After a gloomy start, we're looking at a high close to 70. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Passing shower late Saturday, 62. Easter Sunday starts out wet. Temperatures in the 50s. We'll be cooling off throughout the day. And it does get chilly, cold enough for flurries Monday. I'm not expecting more than that. Temperatures close to 40. And we'll see sunshine heading into next week and a pretty significant warm-up to follow.
All right, Bill, thank you.
Still to come on News Channel 2 at 6, former SU men's basketball head coach Bill Curtis. So, some numbers that we're following tonight when it comes to the West Canada. Where do we rank?
It's number 6. Number 6
Wow.
in recorded history. We have a long standing of records along the West Canada going back over 100 years.
Wow.
And so this one we all remember, the Halloween flood.
Yeah.
But what happened earlier this morning, not too far away, about 2.5 feet below what happened on Halloween, but significant amounts of flooding across the West Canada. And the good news is the rain is done. The floodwaters are receding, and we are heading in the right direction. I'm a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. It's still dreary outside, but it is generally dry, and it stays dry as we head into tonight. It's chilly. Current temperature 40 degrees. Look at that east-southeast wind. Sustained at 17 miles an hour. That cool weather is going to be sticking around overnight, but we do warm up tomorrow. We, in fact, could feel very spring-like here over the next couple of days before cooler weather returns by Easter. Showers tonight, low of 38. We are tracking some warmer weather as we head into Friday. Look at the forecast coming up. James, back to you.
Bill, thank you. A very scary scene played out in North Utica.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We're taking a live look in downtown Utica. It is a pretty quiet night. Cloudy skies, a few areas of showers that came through earlier this evening. And things are looking pretty quiet as we head into tonight. And generally dry conditions. We will see a round of rain showers arrive late tonight and early tomorrow. These won't last for very long, but it does look like a pretty dreary start to Friday. Things are going to change in a dramatic way, though, by the afternoon. Take a look at this drone picture of the West Canada Creek in Middleville. This was taken by Bill Carter yesterday, and you could see quite a bit of flooding, especially along the shoreline. And again, this was a pretty significant flood. There were a lot of various streams and rivers that did this yesterday. Thankfully, the water levels have receded, and things are looking better going forward. Looking ahead to Easter, we're looking at some chilly weather. Rain in the morning. Temperatures in the 50s in the morning. It's going to be cooler and windy throughout the day. A west wind kicking in, falling temperatures expected throughout the majority of the day. We'll be in the low 50s to upper 40s here by Easter afternoon. Bigger picture shows low pressure to our west. This is going to be a big driver in our weather over the next couple of days. Some strong weather to the west will head to the north. And tonight, we're expecting temperatures to hold steady, if not rise a little bit, heading towards tomorrow morning. A few very light showers expected late tonight. It starts out gloomy tomorrow, but by the afternoon, especially the late afternoon, temperatures really warm up. Looking at highs close to 70 by the afternoon with some sunshine expected. A few showers are expected late in the day and into Friday night. Looking at cloudy skies for Saturday, there's going to be a slight push of cooler weather from the north, so Saturday doesn't look quite as warm. Temperatures climb into the low 60s, and some rain showers are expected late in the day. Then the rain becomes steadier Saturday night into Sunday, and that's where we could see some locally heavy rain early Sunday morning. Although I do think the rain that we do get over the next couple of days will not instigate any flooding. Showers tonight, low of 38. Tomorrow, looking at passing shower, much warmer, a high of 70. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. It's warm again on Saturday, just not quite as warm, but feeling very spring-like. Temperatures in the low 60s. Easter Sunday, wet in the morning, windy in the afternoon, an early high of 56. Yes, it goes the other direction on Monday. Flurries, temperatures near 40. Same thing with Tuesday. You can see the overnight lows will fall below freezing. So hold off on planting the garden. Don't do it.
Yeah, not for a while.
Now you've got a few more weeks.
Maybe a month.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Bill. Well, a day after Newport filled with floodwaters, we went back to see if there was any improvement. American Red Cross shelter at Cuyahoga Community Hall has closed, but there are cleanup kits still available there. Various community organizations, including the Herkimer Oneida organizations active in disaster, are also offering a helping hand. Newport is expected to remain under a flood warning, though, until late tomorrow morning. Flood affecting Harbor Point in Utica. That started to recede as well. That heavy rainfall affected the Utica and greater Mohawk Valley during the week. The Mohawk River rose and it closed right up to the parking lot. You can see this video here. The water has receded, but this next shot where you see the benches, it was up to the top of the benches yesterday. And of course the geese are enjoying things right now. The city of Utica actively working with the State Canal Corporation to try and reduce flooding damage. And a portion of I-88 in Otsego County, sinkhole between Otego and Unadilla. It's been 2 days now. State police say there's considerable erosion under the highway. The sinkhole caused by an unknown water issue. Coming up next, continuing the legacy of the late James. So, top 6 all-time highest water levels.
Yeah.
Rivercrest at West Canada. We made the top 6
Yeah,
this week.
was the 6th highest. You can see the Halloween flood is number 1.
Right.
But we were not that far behind by about 2.5 feet. So it was pretty significant. And this also shows you that this we just dealt with is not a normal spring flood. This was
not at
a
all.
lot worse than what is typical. And good news is the water levels are continuing to recede. Even the rain we saw today wasn't enough to cause any additional problems. and that will be the case going forward as, again, we do get a chance to dry out and eventually warm up. Again, looking at dry conditions outside, Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. It's still cold. It's 40 degrees, but that east-southeast wind is quite stiff out there. It's noticeable, and that wind is going to be sticking around as we head into tonight and early tomorrow. We'll see a few showers late tonight and early tomorrow. Much warmer conditions for Friday and early Saturday before some cooler weather returns beginning Easter. Showers late tonight, low of 38. Again, we're tracking a very warm Friday afternoon, very spring-like. Look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. A very scary scene played out in North.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We are taking a live look in downtown Utica. It is cloudy. It's still pretty chilly out there, but the weather will be warming up as we head into tomorrow. It will be a slow process, though. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Again, this is good and encouraging to see. No rain here. We've been dealing with a lot of flooding. This was a drone shot taken yesterday of the West Canada Creek, and as you can see, it's been spilling over its banks, and the water levels have receded. This is a very similar picture that we've seen across central New York. Many rivers and streams have seen flooding, and again, the levels are going down tonight, so some very good news there. It's going to be warm tomorrow afternoon. This lingers into part of Saturday, but it doesn't look like the warmth is going to stick around for Easter Sunday. It looks like it's going to be a wet start to the day with a cold front approaching from the west. The winds pick up in the afternoon. This temperature, this high happens in the morning of 55, and then it gets colder throughout the day. In fact, I think we'll be in the low 40, or the upper 40s here as we head into the evening time. So plan accordingly. If you want to have the Easter egg hunt, you'll have to wait for the rain to roll through, but then also make sure the kids bundle up because it is going to be a lot colder in the afternoon. So we look at the radar and satellite image. All of our weather is approaching from the west. We've got a pretty powerful area of low pressure that will drive to the north. It's producing severe weather tonight in the Midwest. This severe weather component doesn't make it here, but we do get some of the warm weather as we head into tomorrow. Storm Tracker 2 Skycast, cloudy skies tonight. Temperatures remain steady. We'll see a few very light showers first thing in the morning. Then we'll expect the temperatures to gradually warm up throughout the day. Again, it's a gloomy start. Even gloomy for about the first half of the morning before things start to dramatically change. Temperatures start to soar beginning around lunchtime. We'll see temperatures close to 70 in the afternoon. A few showers will be arriving in the evening. This is a push of cooler weather from the north. A backdoor cold front comes in, and I do think it's going to keep temperatures from getting quite as warm as Saturday. We'll start out with temperatures in the 30s. We'll climb into the 50s and low 60s here as we head into Saturday afternoon. A few rain showers arrive late in the day. Tonight, showers, low of 38. Tomorrow, it's going to warm up. Again, a gloomy start to the day, but it is expected to be near 70 in the afternoon with a passing shower. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Cooler Saturday, but still pretty nice. Very spring-like. Temperatures in the 50s and low 60s. Easter Sunday, again, rain in the morning. Temperatures in the 50s early in the day, and then it cools off. It's going to be downright chilly. I am glad the weather on Monday is not for Sunday. I think people would be very upset. Looks like some flurries will be around Monday. Temperatures near 40. We do start to warm up next week.
Yeah, if it was, you need your Easter parka.
I know. It's tough around.
It is tough this time of year,
Yeah.
but good news is coming down the pike.
That's right.
All right, thank you, Bill. Hey, good day after Newport filled with floodwaters. We went back today to see if there was improvement, and there was. The American Red Cross shelter at the Kaihura Community Hall closed, but there are cleanup kits still available there if you need. Various community organizations, including the Herkimer Oneida Organizations Active in Disaster, are also offering a helping hand. Newport is expected to remain under a flood warning, though, until late tomorrow morning. Flooding affected the Harbor Point area in Utica as well, but you can see the water has gone down quite a bit since last night's video that we had here at 11 o'clock. That's the Mohawk River that got up that high. There's still some remnants of the water that high. If you look at this next shot where you get to see the geese, see those benches there? The water was at the top of the benches, the back of the benches there. So the geese just enjoying the extra water there. By the way, the City of Utica is actively working with the State Canal Corporation to reduce flooding in that area. And a portion of I-88 in Otsego County still closed tonight because of a sinkhole between Otsego and Unadilla. It's huge. That's a man standing next to it, so that's a pretty big sinkhole. State police tell us today there is considerable erosion under the highway. Sinkhole is caused by an unknown water issue. Coming up next, continuing the legacy of the late